Thank you, everyone, for joining us. We're really happy to have you here. We have two wonderful organizations presenting today, Elle and Gaia from More Than Conquerors and Leah from Forever Found. Um, we're going to start with More Than Conquerors and their wonderful organization. But before we hop in, we actually have a note from our board member, Jack. He sent this at a time and he's really, unfortunately, he can't make it today, but he wanted to say this. So, as a VCCF board member, I've often had the opportunity to visit and get to know many Ventura County nonprofits. When I was introduced to More Than Conquerors, I was particularly intrigued by their brilliant strategy of disarming shy and traumatized foster youth by giving them a chance to take charge of something fun and new. Elle explains how she and her staff use surfing to free local youth from the weight of their traumatic experiences. They have found a successful path that helps these youth deal with their fear and pain. This path is unique and it works. Please listen to Elle explain how she and her staff of professionals accomplish this, or even better, please go visit the beach with them and see the magic work. Jack had so much praise for you guys. He really appreciates what you do. But now it's time to meet Elle and Gaia. Elle Miller is an avid surfer and surf instructor from Ventura. She has been teaching surf for the past 12 years alongside professional surfer, personal inspiration, and Ventura local Mary Osborne. She has been working closely with the nonprofit organization A Walk on Water, where she learned how to manage their social media platforms and had the privilege of participating in one of their highly successful surf therapy events. Uh, Through difficult times in her life, she has been fortunate to have surfing as an outlet. For Elle, surfing has become a way to heal from loss, build confidence, and most importantly, grow in her faith. Now, Elle feels called to share that passion with foster youth and has been doing so with More Than Conquerors for 5 years. Gaia is an ocean-loving UCSD alumni from Malibu, California. Whether she was surfing, playing water polo, scuba diving, or lifeguarding, Gaia has spent her entire life in the water. With a bachelor's degree in marine biology and over 3 years working as a junior lifeguard instructor, Gaia brings expertise for educating youth on the importance of the ocean. As a part of the More Than Conquerors community, Gaia is able to share her passion for mentoring and uplifting youth in her favorite marine playground. She loves showing individuals how the art of surfing can help foster youth find their confidence and independence while still having fun. Gaia, I would like to say I also scuba dive, so I appreciate the background.
Yeah,
And I would like to pass it off to you guys.
Amazing.
perfect.
Cool.
Well,
I think I was just going to pull up our presentation for you.
yes.
Just a moment. Let's see.
See, did it share over to the right screen? Okay,
There.
can everyone see the presentation?
Amazing. Cool. Well, thank you for getting that up, Gaia. I am going to kick us off. As Aiden introduced me, I am Elle Miller, and I am the founder and CEO of More Than Conquerors Surf. I just want to say thank you so much for being here today and for having me. It is truly an honor and a privilege to be able to share about our organization with you. So More Than Conquerors Surf, or more commonly known as MTC Surf, was created with really one simple vision in mind. And that's that we would be able to provide healing and freedom from trauma to foster youth, adoptive and kinship families, and trafficked youth through the gift of surfing. And I'd actually love to start by sharing a brief clip of our surfers. So I'll have that on the next slide there. Yes. Oh, and I don't know if, does it come up with music?
The sound not coming through for you guys.
Mm-mm.
Okay, let's see.
Wonder if we go full screen, maybe.
If you stop sharing and select share audio, there should be a little button to toggle.
Okay. Thank you for bearing with us, everyone. This is our first time sharing virtually like this, and so it's been a good experience, but we're working through it.
One moment. see if it works this time.
You go before me. You've seen my darkest night and you weren't scared. 'Cause you never flinch and you never change. Your spirit goes before me as you light my way. Wherever I go, I know you go there with me. You meet me on the mountain and you find me in the valley. Wherever I go, I know you go there with me.
Amazing. Thank you for sharing that, Gaia. I actually like tear up a little bit when I see the clips of our surfers because I'm probably a little biased, but they're just absolutely incredible. And they all share one thing in common. They all share trauma. And I'd really love to take a moment to share kind of some heavier hitting statistics with you. And so I'll jump right in. There are over 60,000 foster youth in California. Foster youth are 2.5 times more likely to contemplate suicide and 4 times more likely to attempt it than their peers that are not in foster care. About 40% of adopted children in the US have diagnosable mental health conditions, compared to just the 21% of non-adopted children. And lastly, an estimated 60% of child sex trafficking victims have been in foster care. So, what are we doing about this? MTC is bringing healing and hope to these situations and to these kids that are in these really difficult childhood upbringings by helping them to reclaim their freedom and their joy and confidence through the gift of surfing in our surf programs. So, our program began in 2020, actually, in the middle of COVID, where we took the whole year to make sure that we were really well foundationally set and ready to serve these kids to the best of our ability and capacity. We were privileged to launch our first surf event ever in August of 2021, where I honestly was hoping for just 1 or 2 kids because I was new to working with youth in the foster care system and I just didn't know what the need was going to be. And I was absolutely blown away. We ended up with 15 kids and it was an incredible event. And that was when I knew that we were really on to something here and that the need was big. So after that, our surf program has just been growing and evolving ever since. And we most recently expanded to San Diego in the last couple years and now Santa Barbara. So we're really excited and really just focusing on impacting and helping as many kids as we possibly can. And so I'd like to introduce my amazing colleague, Gaia Hines, and have her share a little bit about what sets our program apart.
Yeah, thank you, Elle. So to give you guys a little insight into our program and what an event day looks like and the impact that it makes, I'm just going to go through what we're deeming the MTC experience. So when our kids arrive at the beach, the first thing that they are welcomed by is just the smiling faces of all of our wonderful volunteers. And they're given a moment to acclimate to the event environment. Coming into a group of people can be very overwhelming for some of these kids. So we give them the space to maybe just sit and hang out in the sand, to spend a little extra time with their parent, staff, or guardian that they've come with. Or if they're feeling a little extra bold, go and get to know some of our volunteers. And once everyone has checked in for the day and we have our full group, we take them to our tent and we do what we have deemed our experiential activity for the day. This involves sitting them down in a circle and giving them each our undivided attention so that they can introduce themselves and we ask them kind of how they're feeling for the day. We take the time to check in, see if they're nervous, excited, scared, or if they're not really feeling up to sharing for that day. We want to give them this space to respect their boundaries, and that really helps us build their trust first thing when they arrive and shows them that this is a safe space for them to be vulnerable and open up to us, but at their own pace. We want to make sure that we meet them where they are for that day. We also take the time during this experiential activity to educate them on the ocean conditions. And we do this in hopes of not only giving them a little bit of marine education, but also to ease any concerns they might have about getting in the water and being at the beach, maybe for the very first time. So after this experiential activity, we then get them fitted into wetsuits and introduced to some volunteer instructors who you will see ultimately end up becoming their best friends. And then we have those instructors walk them through the different surfing techniques before we hit the water. And once those kids get into the ocean, it is just night and day. Being out in the water gives them an opportunity to feel just fully engaged with the surf and their instructor. And it allows them a moment of kind of respite from any struggles they may be having at home, any looming clouds of trauma that they may feel every day. And in this moment, they can just be a kid and just play and have a wonderful time of healing in the ocean. And then throughout our events, we also provide the kids with a healthy, balanced lunch by some of our wonderful local vendors. And we do this because we understand the importance of making sure that they are fueled properly for all the physical activity of surfing and also the emotional struggle and exertion of maybe allowing some trust and vulnerability that they normally wouldn't experience. And after lunch, are given a little extra time to surf because a lot of them are just ready to charge and they want to spend as much time in the water as possible, or they get a little extra time to, play with their new friends or interact with some more of our volunteers. And then we have our kind of most profound moment of the day, which is our closing experiential activity. And in that closing moment, we allow them some time to share with us what they experienced that day, to take a moment and encourage them to tell a story of maybe something they overcame or a highlight that they really enjoyed throughout the day. And whether their story is good or bad, we make sure to highlight their confidence, their courage, their independence, and the joy that they experienced in that day. And then we also follow their stories by giving our volunteers a moment to give them some testimonies for the day. And it's kind of usually in this moment that you see the kids' body language and facial expressions change. Because when they're sharing their story, a lot of these kids don't even really believe what they're saying. Even if they said, oh, I overcame this, I had an amazing day surfing, I had a lot of fun, it doesn't fully click for them until they see someone that was their mentor or someone that they're starting to idolize share these positive moments with them. And it's in that moment that they go, my goodness, I am a conqueror, I am brave, I am strong. And it's just absolutely profound to watch. And so then we take a moment to send them off with as much stoke and love as we possibly can and just show them that they are capable. And hopefully that moment sticks with them and can be something that empowers them for years to come. And I could, sit here and just gush about the program for hours and hours and how it supports them emotionally and physically and socially. But to kind of give you some more insight, we have some statistics and positive reviews about our events. So I'll just give you some background of our age group. We serve from ages 2 to 25, but the majority of our participants are between the ages of 2 to 16, which is super, super formative set of years for these kids. And it's really important in those age ranges to provide them with these trusted mentors and kind of a safe space to be a kid. And of our participants, we've had 100% of the parents and guardians and staff give us a 5-star review, which is just the best feeling in the world to know that they are all having a wonderful time. And 92% of those reviews have said that they would return to a future event, which is unbelievable. And then of our participants, 70% have reported increased confidence. 40% have shown increased interest in physical activity and different sports if they may have not been interested previously. And then we've had countless participants share that they are feeling better emotional regulation and improved social interactions after having participated in an event. And on top of the statistical reports, we have had a multitude of positive testimonies from staff and guardians and caretakers that come and be a part of our event and bring their kids to participate. Um, and with all of this positive feedback, it is what fuels our staff and encourages us to just work even harder and to continue to grow the program. So, to speak on the future of what MTC looks like, I'm going to pass it back to Elle, and she can speak a little more on that.
Amazing. Thank you so much, Gaia, for sharing all of that. And before I launch into kind of our sustainability and our Ventura County growth specifically, I would love to share a story from a surf event that we had last Saturday, because it highlights, I think, what I didn't realize when I started this program was that yes, we started it for the kids, and it is for the kids specifically, and to allow them a space for healing and growth and connection. But what I didn't know was that it was going to reach the volunteers, and it was going to reach the parents and the guardians and the staff and whoever's bringing the kids. And so we had a 17 kid event on Saturday, and it was incredible, amazing. Everybody had just, they were surfing all day long. It was really special. And a parent came up to me, and they've surfed with us a couple times over the last year or so. And he started gushing about the program and also sharing that he was so grateful because his adopted little girl, she didn't know her cousins, and it was because the two families had a feud going on for several years. And so the families didn't talk, they didn't um, communicate or get together or anything. And it's a little bit of an interesting situation because the other family also adopted all of the cousins too. So everybody's adopted. Well, about a year ago, all of the kids, both families showed up to an event together, and they had no idea that they were both going to be there. And so you'd imagine it was probably pretty awkward for them, and pretty uncomfortable. But the most magical thing about it was that despite the family issues, the kids got to meet each other, and they realized they were cousins, and their eyes lit up, and they were like, what? Like, we're related? Now we can go surf together and have the best day ever? And they just were over the moon all day long. And from here on out, they've asked, they're like, are you going to be at the next surf event, or is my cousin going to be there? And so what he shared with me on Saturday is that through our surf program, the two families that were fighting have now started to mend those relationships. And there's been a lot of healing brought to them as well through the surf program and through the kids. And so I was just blown away by that story, and so I wanted to share that. And it's just the impact is so much deeper than we even see at surface level. And so I'm just so excited about the growth and the impact that we're seeing. And so in order to continue the impact, we know that we need to be sustainable. That's why we're asking for your help to cover the cost of the next 6 surf events, which will help us to close out the end of this year. At each event, we average about 15 to 18 kids, and it costs $550 per kid to surf with us, which makes the total cost for one event $8,250. And the most important part is that we make sure that our kids and families never have to pay. And so we would be so grateful for donations that would enable us to get the next 6 events covered. And I want to thank you ahead of time for your consideration on this. And we would absolutely love to have you join us in an event. The next one is going to be July 11th, and it'll be in Ventura at Mondo's Beach. And we really hope to see you there. And yeah, I just can't thank you enough, and we're excited to catch this next wave with you. And I'd love to open it up for Q&A.
Yeah, I had a comment, and just to comment and question just first to say that I think that's just so incredible what you guys are doing. I'm sure everyone here thinks that who's listening. Do you guys feel that this is like a mix of the these students, doing this physical activity, um, and also having like this emotional experience. Like I think what I'm kind of trying to ask is like I just find this interesting, this kind of body and mind connection. It seems like that's kind of part of what's happening here. It's like a form of therapy in a way that involves both the exercise and the speaking with these mentors. So I just wondered if you could maybe speak a little bit more to that, about like maybe like what the thought process was about having these two parts of the process, both the mentorship and the actual surfing. I mean.
Absolutely. I'll touch on it a little bit, and then Gaia, if you want to fill in, if I missed anything, but it's an excellent point. So the idea around these events is that they're a holistic approach event. So in order to be well as people, we need to be mentally cared for, spiritually cared for, physically cared for. And that's something that these kids, they don't get. They don't have that right off the bat. And so what we get to do is share a little bit of that with them at an event and teach those skills and build them up so that way when they go back into regular life outside of their events, they are confident and they're strong and they know that because they feel well physically, spiritually, mentally, that they can overcome and conquer any of those challenges that they're facing in life. And surfing is really unique in the way that it does that. There's a lot of science to it, and Gaia might be able to speak more to that. But there's a healing that happens in the water, both physically and mentally and spiritually, I believe. Gaia, do you have the stats on that, or she studied it more than I did, so.
Yes. There's actually I don't know 100% the science behind it, but there are negative ions released into the air by sea foam and the ocean. And those negative ions, the way that they interact with our bodies and our brains, actually cause a physical release of different hormones that provide a sense of relief and calm, and basically kind of removing the cortisol and the stress triggers that your body would normally have. I'm sure if any of you live near the ocean, you've probably had a really tough day at work. And then if you go and you walk by the ocean, it somehow gives you a sense of clarity and calm. And that is what a lot of these kids experience. And it's similar with the physical activity. If you're having, a really tough day and then you go for a run or you go for a swim or whatever your preferred physical activity is, that release of positive endorphins gives you a higher sense of self-value and just kind of uplifts you for the day. So yeah, that's a little bit more insight into that side of it.
And I'd
Well,
love to touch a little bit too, really fast on the therapy side of things, because I think that's such an interesting point you made, Christian, where it's, you said like it's almost like therapy. And you're so right. Like there are therapeutic elements that are happening in our event, and it's strategically incorporated so that it doesn't feel like therapy, but it's happening. And so we're backed by many, many incredible behavioral clinicians and experts in the field that have been studying this and helping us create this program in a way that it's creating the most impact in our 3 hour events as possible, without it feeling like going to a therapy session, because these kids they've all sat through that, and it's important, it's great, and it's amazing, but this combines all three of those pillars: that mental, spiritual, and physical. Thank
all
you for
right.
the question. Mhm.
Thank you guys so much for your presentation. We loved having you on. But I am now going to move on. We're now going to move on to our next presenter. Leah is from Forever Found. And Leah, would you like to pick it up from here? Oh, you're muted just in case.
There we go. And let me go to share. And then let's see. I'm just going to bring up my PowerPoint before I start talking. I think it's a little bit of an echo, and I
Yeah.
don't know why, but there is. So I'm going
Oh,
to.
I was able to fix it. You you were joined twice, and so it was picking that up
Oh, okay.
twice.
Let's fix
So,
that then.
yeah, you're all good now. I was able to remove it.
Okay. Let me see if I can do
Thank
this.
you, Lauren.
Let me see. First, before I even start this, I'm just gonna kind of minimize this because I haven't started sharing it yet and make sure the sound is shared. And I'm gonna go back here for just a minute. Let's see. Let's go here first. Again, my name is Leah Haynes, and I am the Director of Community Engagement for Forever Found. Forever Found, we've been around about 15 years in Ventura County, and we were founded in 2010 by Shannon Sergi, and she's not able to be online today. Frequently, I represent her out in the community. We focus on the prevention, rescue, and restoration of child sex trafficking victims and at-risk youth. We've been operating in Ventura County as part of our local program since 2014. We received our first phone call informing us that there was someone that had been trafficked, and Shannon, of course, followed up on that. At that time, our staff was teeny, and I think it was her and one other person, and they responded. Prior to that, from 2010 to 2014, we primarily had a child sponsorship program where individuals would sponsor children who were being trafficked in other countries. And those individuals would pay a certain amount of money every month, and that money went to underwrite the cost of really protecting that child. And we did that in Thailand, Ethiopia, and in India. In 2014, we established a home in India, and at the same time, we started a program here locally in Ventura County. We are considered the authority on the topic of child trafficking in Ventura County. We partner with Interface. We also contract with Children and Family Services, along with probation and along with local law enforcement. So let's say that someone has identified someone that has been trafficked. The first step is a safe visit where we go out one-on-one, and our case management staff meets with that youth. And while they're meeting with that youth, they determine if that individual is in need of services. I am very close to the train tracks. We recently moved our offices from Simi Valley to Moore Park, and I'll touch on that a little bit later, but you might hear a train in the background. So please accept my sincere apology for that. So at that point, when you go out on a safe visit, we determine where the youth is at that point, whether they are already maybe testing the boundaries in terms of identifying their predator. Maybe their predator is in the process of grooming them to begin trafficking them. And then we decide what would be the perfect plan to get them to move away from that risky behavior. That's called a safe visit. We receive referrals up on our website. There's an area that says youth referrals, school, law enforcement, juvenile services, children and family services. They can complete the form. A mom or a dad can complete the form. We make the contact and we go out on the safe visit. If during the safe visit the youth does disclose that they're 15 and that their perpetrator's 42 and that they're already deep into practicing unsafe behavior, then we begin to try to talk to them about that. We often might even get law enforcement involved. If we're called out by law enforcement, we provide social and emotional support. We are not social workers, and we don't pretend to be. At that point, we just try to get them out of a transactional relationships with individuals and become more relational. Another thing that we do in addition to that is we provide training and awareness in the community, because if I explained our case management model, it would take a significant amount of time. I did explain the safe visit. We also receive calls on our 24/7 helpline, and that information is up on our website. In addition to that, we go to court with the youth that have been identified as being trafficked. We also
Oh, and
meet with them on a, go ahead.
oh, Leah, I know you had mentioned you said you had something to share. I don't know if
Yes.
you are, I don't know if it's sharing right now, if you were going
I
to.
don't think it is because I didn't bring it up. I just wanted to give a little background because I
Okay, perfect.
totally
I just wanted
plan
to
to
make
go
sure
into.
before you.
Yeah, let's go ahead and share my PowerPoint now. Thank you for reminding me.
No worries.
I
I just wanted to make
appreciate
sure.
that. Oh no, I do. I appreciate that. Okay, are you able to see it? Yes? Are you able to see my PowerPoint?
No, no, we're not.
Okay, so then what did I do wrong?
Um, so at the bottom center, do you see the share button where it says share?
That's where I did it. Let me go
Uh,
back there again. Let
mhm.
me go share, and then
Oh,
maybe it didn't come up.
it looks like it's coming through.
Okay,
You're
okay.
sharing your screen directly. So,
Yeah, that's good. That's fine.
okay.
I'm going to bring up my PowerPoint. Let's see if it'll come up. And then from here.
All
Okay.
right. We can see it just fine now. Thank you.
Believe it or not, I teach a class on the second Thursday of every month on the topic of human trafficking. And anyone online, if you want to email me, you're welcome to come to my class. Um, but this is a presentation about what we do and just to kind of share it with your agency. So I mentioned that we go from a safe visit to case management, and I'll give you some numbers on that. Right now, we're serving about 120 traffic youth in Ventura County. We only operate in Ventura County. We don't outside of our home in India, and they are two separate entities. So we have our Ventura County program, and then we have our program in India. So a large portion of the work that we do is training and education, in addition to serving the youth that we have. I play a very active role in this, where every year, starts the month of January, is National Human Trafficking Awareness Month. And we meet with the Board of Supervisors and we share statistics. And then I go around the community talking to law enforcement, and really they do a great job of recognizing us. We also partner with Ventura County Seroptimus on bringing awareness to human trafficking. It's a pretty large event that takes place in Simi Valley, and usually between 300 and 500 people attend that event. And it just brings, what does it look like? How do you identify it, a youth? And then typically we have two speakers, one from our agency and then one from the larger population of survivors. This past year, I did a Safe Schools and Human Trafficking Awareness Summit with Ventura County Office of Education, and over 700 students attended in the 4-day workshop. This is a little bit of statistics because typically I'm not able to show pictures of the youth we work with because they have to have anonymity. We can't post their pictures up on the website. You're welcome to go look at our Facebook page. We do have some pictures of youth, but they all have hearts over their faces. So it's really hard to get a picture. But there are pictures of the children we serve in India. We're very careful about how we protect our children. So typically, if you earlier when I said we serve anywhere between 120 100 to 120 in youth. This past year, in part, our training and education, we did 19 events and we trained more than almost 2,800 individuals. We have training events not only with social services, but also with schools and with other agencies that want to gain knowledge on how they can recognize if a child is being sex trafficked and possibly even be able to help and provide education for that child. So far, this year, we've had 45 referrals. That means active referrals that represent a child that has been trafficked, and this is through just year to date. And then the youth receiving services right now is about 128 on our caseload. We have a survivor mentor program where individuals who are interested in supporting the youth we serve, they can go through 25 hours of training. And at the conclusion of that training, they're matched with the youth. That's after pretty intense screening process where we do a live scan, FBI check, background check, because we want to make sure they didn't move from another state and come to this state to begin trafficking a child. Every month, we are matching those trained adults with a mentee. I've had 4 mentees since I've been with the organization. Even as a staff person, we're encouraged to interact with the youth because that kind of keeps us on the front lines to see what that looks like so that we can really effectively be able to help that youth. Most of the youth really are just interested in having a relationship, a healthy relationship, and not making it transactional. And I think that's a lot of what Elle was talking about when they're out on the beach and when they're interacting with the children, is that they want to be there and they're very present during that period. And that's really what we try to teach, is that we want to be present in that part. So then these are some, we have drop-in center events every quarter, and I just thought I'd share some pictures of our India youth because I'm unable to show pictures of the youth that we serve. They're all under 18, and it would be difficult, but we can show pictures of the youth in India all day long. I wish I had some wonderful pictures, Elle. I was so impressed by your pictures of the kids up on the surfboards. Unfortunately, that's not the way Forever Found is able to operate because some of these youth are currently in a case or they're about to maybe bring their predator to court, and to show their face would be completely inappropriate. So, but part of what we do is we offer events where the mentor and the youth can come and participate. So typically around Valentine's Day kind of kicks it off at the early part of the year. And then we move on and we have other events that maybe focus on how to find a job, how to present yourself, how to gain confidence. We had a great event recently where we really talked about what does it mean finding someone you can trust and really have a conversation with when you are feeling vulnerable, when you are feeling that that's the only life you have is having sex with other people for money. And what does that look like? So we always have a focus and we always have fun at these activities. We've had painting, sip and paint, and it just gives them an opportunity to have a really genuine experience with people that care about them. And I thought that maybe you might want to hear from one of our youth. One of our youth was 14 years old when she came into our program. She'll tell you a little bit about it, but I thought that might be a good thing. And then I'll take some questions. But our program is very effective, and we have statistics to prove that it's effective. And our case manager staff are very devoted. We have over 70 mentors that meet with youth on a weekly basis. And every year we support them by having our annual, we have about 3 major fundraising events a year. We could always use funding. We never quite have enough funding to cover all the things we do. But I'm gonna slip over to this and see if I can bring up my video. This is Piper, and this is about our mentorship program, which is so key, where it's one-on-one. Once a week, you meet with your mentee, which is a child, but she's been in the program 8 years, so she'll tell you how old she is. Just make sure I'm able to bring that up.
If I could look back on my 14-year-old self, I would say don't be scared. Open up. You can have those bad days, but just remember that you have people behind you and that you are loved even when you feel like you're not. It'll all be okay in the end. I am Piper Morris from Forever Found as a mentee, and I'm here with my mentor, Donna Whitelaw.
My name is Donna Whitelaw, and I've been a mentor to the same youth for over 8 years.
My relationship started with Forever Found in unfortunate circumstances, being interrogated by Simi Valley Police Department. I was given a pamphlet, and my mom then took it upon herself to do some research into it. I'm really glad that she did, because it was my lifeline for a really long time and still is.
When I met Piper, my first impressions were she seemed so sad and broken, and she seemed very apprehensive about us meeting. But it was my hope and my prayer that over time she would see how much I cared about her and that I just wanted to be an emotional support for her.
The most impactful part of Forever Found for me has been horses, equestrian therapy, or equine therapy. It was really hard for me to open up to people because I felt like nobody understood where I was coming from. And having these giant animals that just look at you and you melt.
It was such an incredible experience to see an awakening in her soul, how the horses just could see her pain and how she attached to them and grew.
From being in equine therapy, I've been able to build off of that and create a career with it. And I'm so grateful because without Forever Found, I wouldn't have the career field that I'm in.
Getting her own horse, training that horse that nobody believed in, competing on that horse, winning titles on that horse, then working for the ranch and coming alongside of youth and teaching them how to ride, and now training other people's horses. Incredible.
Reflecting back, it's scary to think about all of the things that could have changed, how I wouldn't have the life that I have today. And I'm just so grateful for such an amazing opportunity that a lot of women and boys and girls don't have. I had that foundation when just about nobody does.
I am so thankful to be a part of the team that serves youth that have been trafficked. I can see in Piper and in other youth what it does, how it affects them, how it grows them, how it changes them. And it's just nothing but a privilege to be a part of the team.
Forever Found means to me having a voice. When you feel so small, Forever Found has made me feel big again and not be a victim, but be myself. A couple things I've gained from Forever Found, but the one thing that sticks out is having a foundation. That foundation crumbled, and Forever Found helped me rebuild that.
Right. So maybe this would be a good opportunity. I think that's it. Let me stop sharing. I've never had a visit from Ventura County Community Foundation to the work that we do. We just purchased 66-acre property in Moore Park, and our goal is to have a home on that property for the youth that we serve, also for the more than 120 youth to come out and participate. Our equine therapy, over 80% of the youth we serve participate in that, along with art therapy. We do a lot of things to really support the youth. Any questions?
Thank you so much for the work you're doing, Leah. That's incredible, and that video is very, very impactful. I was curious. You talked about awareness. I was wondering, are kind of what are there main warning signs that people just might not be aware of that we can just spot, or is it much deeper? Is it a harder thing to detect?
Well, you're encouraged to come to my HT 101 class on the second Thursday of every month in the evening from 7 to 8:30. But probably the biggest warning signs is online. I did the training at Ventura County Office of Education, and probably the students that did come to the training were probably pretty high achievers. They had grade point averages above 2.5 because that's how they were able to participate. And I had a show of hands of children in middle school who had a phone, and 100% of the class raised their hands. And then I asked them to keep their hands up, how many of them were getting requests from people on the outside to be their friend. And I was all the way up to number 5, and then hands started coming down. But most of them said that they accepted a minimum of 5 requests a week from people that they did not know. So that was frightening to me. And the same thing happened when I met with the high schoolers. So I said online is probably the biggest threat, that most parents don't really have a full awareness of what their children are doing online and what their friends look like online.
Well, do we have any other questions for Leah before we start to wrap things up? Well, I just want to say thank you guys so much. I have a few things before we finish up for the day. I would like to thank I would like to thank all our presenters, Elle, Gaia, Leah. Just really appreciate you guys being here and the work you're doing with your organizations. But just some information for upcoming. We have July Lunch and Learn. It's Thursday, July 16th. We will have our speakers from US Vets and Veterans Mentor Project. So it's a veteran support themed Lunch and Learn in July. There will be a recording of this Lunch and Learn going out to everyone who attended and everyone who signed up who didn't attend. So people who weren't able to make it will still receive all the wonderful information you guys provided us today.
Thank you.
We really hope to see you guys there if you can make it, and we really appreciate all of the impact that you're having in Ventura County. And if there was anything else you guys wanted to say before we close.
I appreciate the opportunity to be able to share the work I've forever found.
Yes, and I also feel the same way. I was just going to say thank you so much for allowing MTC to present and share today.
Well,
Yeah.
we've been so happy to have you. And I think with that, we're all set.
All right.
All right, everybody,
Thank you
have
all
a nice
so
day.
much.
Thank you.
Thank
Ready?
you.